Welcome everybody. This is Lohit GN from Telerik. I welcome you to this webinar. I believe this is the first webinar in the year of 2014 from our side. If you have been a regular visitor for our webinars in the last year, you would know that we normally conduct 2 webinars in the month. It's basically on Thursdays at 3 to 4 p.m. We don't want to keep it on Friday because we know it's going to be a very hectic day. We don't want to keep it early in the week because it's the start of the week. So we felt like Thursdays makes it much more apt for people to take at least an hour out of their busy schedule and then attend our webinars. And here we try to give you the best, the latest, the greatest, in terms of Telerik as well as the general technology trends that we kind of follow in the industry. So today, in keeping in the same ground, we are trying to let you know today about how you can build responsive web apps with Kendo UI. For those of you who don't know Kendo UI, we already have a lot of webinars and then a lot of blog posts on Kendo UI. So I'm not going to be getting too deep into Kendo UI. I'm not going to be telling you, what Kendo UI is all about. Basically, I will be concentrating more on what is responsive web design, and then how does Kendo UI help you with, if you use Kendo UI, which is our flagship product. Just to take a minute and then explain Kendo UI. Kendo UI is a HTML5 and JavaScript-based client-side framework, meaning you can use this to build HTML5 web apps or web applications or mobile apps or data visualization, you name it, you can build it. So that's Kendo UI. It's a JavaScript UI framework library. You just need Kendo UI as one package in your projects, and it can give you the web widgets, it can give you the visualization widgets, it can give you the mobile widgets. Plus we have out of the box frameworks like MVVM. We have our own MVVM framework, so it's already baked into Kendo UI package. You don't need any additional libraries in order to use the MVVM concepts. Also we have a validation in place, we have globalization in place, so a lot of things, data source, everything is available in one package. You do not need of course we depend on jQuery, so that's the only dependency that we have. If you put in jQuery, that's all Kendo UI needs, and then you need only jQuery and Kendo UI to do pretty much most of the HTML5 based things that you want to do. We also basically other thing that I keep telling is, if you are in a project and then you are having n number of libraries which do their own stuff, it's a kind of a overhead for you. It's basically overhead in the terms of maintenance. jQuery keeps moving, but these libraries take a little time to get them up to date with the jQuery version. So basically, you not only that, jQuery keeps going ahead, so who's going to move these open source or whatever frameworks that you use, who's going to make it compatible with the latest jQuery? So that's pretty much kind of overhead that we see, or a maintenance nightmare that we see. Like you have package 1, package 2, package 3, package 4 for 4 different things that you want to do. For example, for MVVM you may be using Backbone, for charting you may be using plugin Y or plugin Z, so everything. So it's varied things within a project. But with Kendo UI, you just need Kendo UI because we give you everything out of the box. But today I'm not going to be talking more about what exactly is Kendo UI. Rather, I will be showing how Kendo UI gives you this responsive designs if you use our controls. So a little bit of introduction about myself. My name is Lohit GN. I'm a developer evangelist at Telerik India. I'm also a Microsoft MVP in the area of ASP.NET and IAS. Here's my official email ID, lohit.nagaraj@telerik.com. If you are on Twitter, you can pretty much catch me with my handle, which is @KASHYAPA. That's pretty much my coordinates. I blog at kashyapas.com. That's my personal blog where I basically write on ASP.NET. And TelerikHelper.net is the kind of a website, or it's, as the name goes, it's a Telerik helper, meaning we keep writing, myself and then my fellow evangelist Dhananjay Kumar, and then our country head Mr. Abhishek Kant. We keep writing blog posts here. These posts are predominantly targeted towards how to do a particular feature, or how to work with a particular control. So we tend to kind of bring in the goodies in terms of step-by-step blog post which gives you step-by-step learnings on how to use a particular control or how to do a particular thing with Telerik controls. So that's a little bit brief about myself. So now let's start a little bit. Let's take a moment to understand what is this RWD. I'm pretty sure many of you who are in HTML5, you will understand what does RWD means. It's basically an acronym which stands for Responsive Web Design. So what is it? Basically, if you are doing a lot of HTML5 based websites, or forget HTML5, in this era, due to the proliferation of mobiles, tablets, desktop browsers were like the main consumers of a website, right? Basically as an end user, you would always go to a web browser and then go to your website, navigate to your website, browse a website. That was a couple of years back, or yeah, that's kind of 2 to 3 years back. But thanks to the the mobile devices and the tablet devices that are in the market, which are very economical in terms of pricing, and then which are very affordable in terms of buying power, you pretty much have mobile in everybody's hands, and then thanks to all the internet packages on these mobile devices, pretty much everybody is browsing a particular site or a particular app through their mobile phone. So now we are talking about, if I have a website, I need to have 3 experiences. Basically, one experience for the desktop browser, who's going to be, pretty much be on his desktop browser, and then second experience is on the mobile devices. Mobile device also has a browser. So if somebody visits my website on my mobile browser, how do I give the experience? Because mind you, the form factors are different when it comes to browser and then the mobile device and then the tablets. Now you have tablets like Samsung Tab or iPad or iPad Mini. All these things are tablets. You have your Nokias, your Samsungs, your LGs, the phones. So the form factors are different from desktop browser to the mobile browser to tablet browser. But will you give a same experience across the 3? No, you need to tailor-made your screens in order to fit the browser dimension of all these devices, and then make sure that they are responsive. So I normally, as anybody does, Wikipedia is the place where you go and then search for, okay, what do we mean by some particular term, right? So I did a search for what does RWD, or responsive web design, mean? According to Wikipedia, it says RWD is an approach aimed at crafting sites to provide an optimal viewing experience. That's the key important thing here. You are making an approach in order to create a site which provides an optimal viewing experience, meaning I need a easy reading, I need a easy navigation with a minimum of resizing, panning, and scrolling across a wide range of devices. When we say wide range of devices, it's basically desktop, mobile, tablet. So as you can see, there's a Wikimedia has a very good image or picture which talks, this tells you pretty much everything about a responsive web design. You have the tablet or desktop browser being shown there, you have a tablet being shown there, and then you have a phone being shown there. So those are the 3 screen factors that you pretty much have to cater to. If you have a site, you got to give an optimal viewing experience on all these 3 screens or form factors or dimensions. They should be easy to read, and users should be easy to navigate, and there should not be any there should be minimum of resizing, a minimum of panning. Panning is nothing but when the user pinches in or pinches out, all those things, and then there should be minimum of scrolling too. So that's what a responsive web design is all about. Now, if that is responsive web design, and then Kendo UI has controls like we have web controls, we have data visualization controls, and we have mobile controls. When we say web controls, we have things like grid, tab strip, panel bar, you name it. The regular components that a web application requires, we have it. Similarly, data visualization, it's pretty much similar to any other charts, graphs that you require on your application, but it's an SVG base that we have. But predominantly, these are all components, right? So Now, if these component, if we are asking you to use Kendo UI, and then you will come back and then ask us, okay, are you supporting responsive web design or not? So basically, uh, what we say is, those of you who know what is a responsive design, it's basically the responsive web design talks about three tenets. The three tenets are, you need to have flexible layouts, meaning if I am viewing on a desktop browser, yes, your layout should be as big as the dimension of your browser. And then when I'm same layout, when I'm trying to view on a mobile or on a tablet, yeah, it has to rearrange itself in order to make sure that uh, people are saying, my voice is breaking. Can you guys hear me now clearly? Am I coming? Okay. So I'll try to go slow, maybe.
Lohit, your voice is clear.
Okay. Okay. So thank you, Abhishek. So basically, the tenets of the responsive web design is three things. Flexible layout, media queries, adaptive images or media. So basically, when I talk about flexible layout, it's nothing but, Twitter Bootstrap is a very good example of flexible layout. It has a columnar, it has a grid-based layout. You can pretty much say that, hey, I have a row, and then you can say, like, my columns are all either 4 lengths or 5 lengths, or if I have only 2 columns, I can say each column is 6 lengths. So what happens is, when you view the same web page on a mobile browser, the Twitter Bootstrap CSS queries or media queries will automatically realign your columns to go row-wise. So that's pretty much a flexible layout. It should be flexible in terms of where it's being displayed, and it should automatically render itself in terms of adapting itself to the dimension that it has. Media queries, basically you use media queries to as the name says, it's a query about a media. Basically, your media query tells you, hey, currently you're running at so and so, particular dimension. So you can write a query to that saying, like, hey, media query, whenever there is a max width of, let's say, 600 px, I want the following styles to be applied. Hey, media query, whenever the max width is 800 px, I want this following style sheet to be applied. So basically, you are controlling the positioning of the elements, or the the whole the grids, or the your text boxes, or your menu items, or your tabs. So you basically are controlling your positioning of elements using these media queries based on what dimension the page has been rendered, or what dimension the page has been viewed. For example, a desktop browser, currently I'm using 1900 by 1000K or something is my resolution of my desktop browser. So I get a good real estate, so I can actually lay out everything horizontally. But I have I have a phone which is Nokia Lumia 920, which is just 760 by 1280. So there's nothing much real estate there. So during that time, I can actually write a web style sheet, a media query, saying, like, hey, whenever your max width is 760, I want you to apply these style sheet across these elements. That's it. So that's the media query thing. Adaptive images. Basically, what adaptive images means is, if you are showing a very big images when you are on a desktop browser, if the same image is viewed, or if the same page is viewed on a mobile, the image should automatically be kind of go down in terms of the width and height in order to fit the the dimension that is being viewed on. So that's basically the three tenets of responsive web design. So if you ask us, hey, as a Kendo UI, what do you do? How do you achieve responsive design? If I use your controls, I want to use your grid, is it responsive? I want to use your scheduler, is it responsive? I want to use your basic controls like text box, basic controls like date picker, basic controls like panel, are they responsive? Yes, we do provide responsive, all our controls, basically the Kendo UI controls are responsive in nature. We achieve the responsive web design through three pillars, what we call as three pillars. One is responsive widgets, another one is adaptive widget rendering, and third is the modern UI extension. So we're going to look at each one of these and then kind of go with each one of these and then see, okay, what do I mean by responsive widget? So I will show a couple of demos where if you use basic date picker or the panel bar, it's already responsive. It knows it basically looks at its container, whatever size the container is, it's going to fill up the container very seamlessly, very beautifully. So we're going to look at that, and then we have something known as adaptive widget rendering. You can use the same widget to be kind of run on when you use a widget on a web page, and then if the web page is viewed on a browser, it's going to look different. And then if the same page is looked on a mobile device, it's going to completely different. It's going to adapt to the dimension of that particular mobile browser and then show you completely a different experience of the same control. You do not have to write two different codes. It's just one code, one property, and then it becomes adaptive in terms of either mobile or non-mobile, a desktop browser scenario. And then I will show you a cool thing that we have brought out. Modern UI extension. What exactly is that? We're going to look at the end. So now let's start with responsive widget. Basically, when we say responsive widget, as you can see, if your container, the example that you're seeing on the screen is basically that of a list box that we have. So if you use a list box, and then list box will automatically fill up the container that it is in, and then it's going to, depending on the size of each item, it's going to automatically place, as you can see here, depending on the width, it has placed 5 items. But what if I'm viewing this particular container or particular web page in a dimension which is less than a desktop browser, and then the list box automatically is responsive in terms of, it's going to automatically align itself to show only 2 items, because that's the only the dimension that I have that I can show, and it automatically becomes responsive. And then similarly, all the other things like, you can mix and match. For example, you see here the birthday is having a date time picker. So when it was viewed on a particular dimension, it was very small in length. But when I've modified my dimension of the page, meaning I'm viewing this web page in a, let's say, a mobile browser, the date time picker automatically fills itself of the available space, the 100% whatever space is available. So we have all of these basic things kind of ready-made. So this is what the demo that we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to be showing the built-in responsive capabilities, and then we're going to look at resizing API. We came out with an API which is very simple. All you need to do is, whenever the page is resized, just call resize on a very specific Kendo UI control, and then it will automatically resize itself. So you just write one line of code and you resize your pages, web page, so it automatically resizes itself to the available container. So the scenario is, I'm placing a graph on a web page. Let's say I'm placing a funnel, a line graph or a line chart on a page. And when it is viewed in a web page which is on a desktop browser, so I have 1900 pixel width, right? But the same page is viewed on a mobile browser, I have only 760 pixels. So you do not have to do anything except write one line of code and say, hey, when the screen is resized, I want you to just go ahead and then resize that particular chart, and then the rest of the things we take care. So that is what we're going to be looking at. So now the demo on responsive widgets. Let me bring my Visual Studio, and let me close everything except start page. I don't know, I'm kind of a guy where I want the start page always to be there, pinned up. I like it being there. It kind of gives me a joy to see the start page there. I don't know how many of you share the same emotion, but yeah, I like it to be pinned up and then being there. So here's the thing, what I've done is, let me maximize this. I hope my code is visible. I can actually increase a little bit. So let me go to 125%. Yeah, so all I've done is, this is the way you do it. You just create a unordered. So I'm going to show you an example of an unordered list being converted into Kendo panel bar. So Kendo panel bar is nothing but, it's a panels, and then you click on one panel, it expands, and then you can see what is inside that panel. So the way you do that is, you just create a UL, give it an ID, create a LI, and then have a text, and then this is the content of the particular panel bar item. That's all you need to do, and then only one line, it's going to go ahead and then create the panel bar for you. So let me So this is how you do it. This is a jQuery. There's nothing Kendo here. It's a hash panel bar, meaning I want to grab an element which has an ID panel bar, convert that into Kendo panel bar. So before that, I have to mention that we do require you to use a couple of style sheets which are Kendo specific, and then we need a JavaScript which is only one JavaScript. That's all. You will see me only using this JavaScript. Of course, we depend on jQuery, so I have my jQuery dependency being set there. So now if I go back, if I run this, let me give me a couple of minutes. So let me run this. Okay, so here's the page. When I run this, so this is this is what I was talking about. So I'm on a 1280 by 768 resolution today for the webinar. So I purposefully haven't done any styling on the Kendo panel bar. So what I've done is on the page, I've just used the bootstrap, and then I've said, okay, I want to place the Kendo panel bar here. I want a panel bar created here. So this is the panel bar here, if you can see here. So if I click, it opens, and then I can close it and all the stuff. But the interesting thing is, if you notice, it is completely 100%. Like it's taken the space available. So if I go ahead and then resize, do you see this? It automatically so nicely resizes itself to whatever dimension I'm doing this. So this is what I was talking about. Many of our controls or many of our widgets are automatically responsive in nature. If you use it, you do not have to worry. So for example, this panel bar, it's kind of responsive, right? So let me bring in an iPhone simulator, and what I will do is I'll go to the same screen. So I'm just getting the same page, simulating in an iPad simulator. This is known as Electric Plum mobile simulator. And then what it does is it pretty much simulates, an iPhone. So here, if you see here, it's the same thing. I have the dimension is very small, but you can see that our Kendo UI widget, it's responsive. You do not have to do anything except just place the widget, and then give me a second. The Electric Plum is behaving a little bit flaky. Let me get back the page again. Yeah, there we go. So it's loaded. I'm not sure how GoToMeeting is kind of showing the simulator here, but as you can see, I did not have to write any code in order to make sure that this page or this panel bar is responsive in terms of a desktop browser or a mobile browser. All I had to do was place the Kendo panel bar, and then that's it. It's going to fill up whatever screen size that is there. So this is one of the examples. Let's take a look at another example, wherein what I have done is I've gone ahead and then created a little bit of what we call. So here's a similarly, I've used the panel bar, I've used the bootstrap container class row. I've given this has to be this particular. I'm trying to create a profile setup. So let's go back to our browser, and then let's say this is a responsive. So this is what I've done, a bare bone minimum. Let's assume this is a profile setup. Where I have name, birthday, male, English. This is a text box. This is a multi-select. You can see I can select a Ruby, and then I can select this is again a drop down. So sorry, numeric text box. So this is a numeric text box. As you can see, I can move up and down. So now let me try to resize this guy. Well, it's pretty good, right? So if you can see here, automatically it has, resized itself to whatever available containers are there. So you do not have to do anything. So this is the text box. This is the date picker. If you see here, this is the date time picker. I'm kind of emulating maybe around 500 pixel dimension of a mobile browser. So this is the drop down. This is again a drop down. So this is a multi-select, and this is the numeric thing, right? But here's a problem. So now let's take a look at this particular page in again maybe a mobile browser. So let me go back to Electric Plum, and then I say I want to view this particular page, right? Just let's give it a couple of seconds for the Electric Plum to the simulator to simulate the page. Yeah, there you go. I did not write anything, right? You have seen me showing a code. I ran in the desktop browser. It's coming up in the desktop browser. Now I just took the same page and then put it on the. When I'm viewing this on a mobile browser, it's pretty much seamless, right? As you can see, it automatically it's responsive in terms of the the screen sizes, what it needs to do. It has automatically kind of fit the dimension that is available, fit the container that is available, and it's still. You do not have to do anything. If you use ours, it's responsive in terms of the dimensions that you use. So there you go. So we have the the daytime picker coming up. But if you notice, I have a problem. What is it? The experience on the browser, on the mobile browser, on a mobile is pretty good. It's pretty slick. It's very small. But take a look at the desktop browser. I don't like to see this birthday coming up this much bigger. The drop down this much bigger, right? So that's where the media queries come into picture. What we can do is, if you can see here, I have a couple of style sheet where I've said, for the date picker, for the drop down, for the button, for the text box, I want a padding equal to 0.2 m, right? So now I can come back here and then say like, hey, you know what? If you are not seeing in a mobile browser, I want you to be, let's say 300px, but if you are anywhere below 600px, so this is the media query that I'm writing now. If you are anywhere below 600px and equal to 600px, I want you to be with 100%. This is the media query that you can write. So this is responsive. So we are already responsive, but you want to take control over some of the responsive things, you can. So that's what I'm going to show you now. So now, if I come back here in a desktop experience, if I just refresh it, you will see that the buttons, the drop downs, the daytime picker, this is neat now, right? If you see here, the numeric text box, I have not written the style sheet for that, but what I have written is for the text box, for the daytime picker, for the drop down, I have said, hey, daytime picker, drop down, button, text box, I want you to be 300 pixel only when it's a desktop experience. But let's say you go to the width which is less than 600%, I want you to be 100%. So now if I resize this guy, there you go. You see this? It's 100%. It's filling up whatever size that the container is available. It's going to be filling that. Okay, so this is another, the responsiveness that I was talking about. One use hours, our controls are already responsive. You do not have to do anything. Second scenario is like, I know it is responsive, but I want to take control of it. I want to kind of play around with the media queries. You can still available. So we work very well with, all the CSS3, whatever are the standards. We are standard based. So now I'm going to show you an interesting another thing. Somebody is asking, does Kendo do any polyfill? Yes, we are completely polyfill based. If you are using Kendo control and then if the browser is not HTML5, we do all the polyfilling in the backend. You do not have to do anything. For example, one of the classic example we give is validation. If you use Kendo's validation framework, we will sniff what the browser is. If the browser is HTML5, we will use the HTML5's validation features under the hood. If not, we will plumb all the JavaScript that is required to give you the same seamless, same validation UI or validation behavior as if it were to be an HTML5 browser. So we take care of everything under the hood. We do all the heavy plumbing. So now what I've done here is, I talked about controls. That's fine. But what about the charts, right? So let's take a look at what happens. So I have two charts on the page. Both of them are side by side. I'm using Bootstrap, so I've said this is a row, and then I want a 6 large column. Each column will take the 6 lengths. So that's what I've done. And then what I'm going to do is I have a little of JavaScript already written in the interest of the time. Let me show you the JavaScript maybe. So this is responsive 3. Somebody is saying Kendo UI is very good. Wow, yeah, that's what we do. So we want you to play around and look at more goodness that we have. So what I've done is I've already created some of the, these are some of the code that is required to create the chart. I don't want to spend time creating it. It's pretty fairly simple. It's a setting that you're doing, and then I have a function which just creates the chart. That's all I've done. So now coming back to this, so all I'm doing is I've placed a div. I've given it an ID called chart OCT, and then I've given it another chart. I've given it a smooth line chart, and then on the page load, I'm saying create chart. So let's go and then see what happens. So let me go back to the maximum. There you go. So don't worry about, why is this chart looking so big. That is very purposefully I've set it. And not only that, what has happened is when I ran this example, my screen's resolution was 1900. So the sales statistics and then this another, by the way, this is the new charting feature that we have. This is a smooth line chart. It's not the regular line chart where you have points being joined as a vertical lines, or it's like a here we do a smooth joining of the points. So as you can see here, this is a very good analog signal chart, right? So now what has happened is my resolution is around 1280, sorry, 768. So Bootstrap kicks in and then says, you know what, although you had told me that it is 2 columns, but I have to place them as 2 rows. So that's what has happened. If I increase my resolution, you will see both of these charts coming next to each other. But that's not the point that I'm trying to make here. So now, this is fine, but let me go ahead and then resize. Do you see the problem now? When I resize, the charts are not resizing. They still remain intact. So how do we, kind of go ahead and then solve this problem? So I hope everybody is able to see this in the, GTM. Go to meeting. So what has happened is I resize my screen. Let's do one thing. We'll go and then open it up in the iPhone, and then pretty much it will be very visible as to what's happening here. So now when I open the same page in a mobile browser, you will see that everything is blown up because it didn't resize itself. Okay, so this is the third portion that I was talking about. We have written a new. There you go. So it has kicked in. Interesting. So I think I have enabled my code. Let me check. No. Okay, we'll come back to that. So basically what's happening is when I resize my browser, the charts are not getting resized. So let's see how we can solve it. What we did was, in the latest release, we released the API known as Kendo.resize. So here, let me kind of uncomment my code. This is all just because, like, I don't have to type and then you don't have to see me typing. Sometimes it gets ugly when I have to type a lot of things. So all I've done is each of this div has a class called as chart wrapper. If you can see, these are the two divs that I have, and then this is where the Kendo charts are being drawn. And I'm using the jQuery's eventing functionality, where I say, hey, whenever window has a resize event fired, I want this function to be the event handler for that. So what I'm basically doing is, on every window resize, I'm going to go ahead and say kendo.resize this particular element. So now when I go back and then kind of refresh my page, let me give it a second to refresh it, because it's, yeah, now it is done. So now let me resize. Did anybody see what happened? So it's coming a little bit of laggy in the GTM, but if you see there, earlier I had the the chart cut off because it didn't resize, but now I'm going to keep on resizing. You will see that chart is getting resized by automatically itself. If you see now, I'm making it so small, but I'm able to view the complete chart. That is because chart is getting resized on every window resize. So that's as simple as it can become for you to provide the responsive experience on your web pages. So see, both the charts, they're able to resize. Now here's the interesting thing. Now let me go back to the mobile simulator. So of course, let me refresh this guy. So it's getting refreshed on the mobile. So just give me a second. It's little flaky sometimes. Okay, I think it has kind of refreshed the page. Now, what I'm going to do is notice the dimension when I am in a portrait, mode, right? The orientation is portrait. But let me go ahead and then do this to landscape. There you go. When I do a landscape, again the grid has automatically, resized the graph, because we have said on window resize, I want you to resize. So this is a very important scenario when it comes to mobile. When I am doing in portrait mode, if something is not visible completely, for example, take a look at the analog signal. It's coming okay, but it's like a crumped up. It's little crumped. So obviously my phone, I can just turn it and then make it as a landscape. Now it's better, like I get a little bit of more room. Not only that, let me go ahead and then change this device to iPhone. Sorry, we are in iPhone, so let me go and then do it to the iPad. So let's get the iPad simulator to just come up. It's not responding now. Just give me a second. There you go. Can you see this? The graph is automatically adjusting to the page size, the dimension that the web page is being viewed on. So this is a iPad, so iPad has more room. Similarly, I can go in and then say, okay, I want to see this as a landscape now. Sorry, portrait. Again, seamless. As you can see, I'm able to, the graph just keeps changing itself. So that's about the, the responsive designs as far as responsive widgets are considered. Now I'm already at 3:45 now, so I have just 15 more minutes. So let me just quickly go over. Here's another interesting. So somebody is saying, fantastic, you haven't seen anything yet. Just hold on your wow, fantastic thing for now, because I'm going to show you an interesting thing that we have. So we talked about responsive widgets, right? So responsive widget is all about it automatically resizes itself to, let's say, the dimension that is available, right? But if you take widgets like grid, grid is a kind of a horizontal columnar based tabular based thing. But can I make a grid responsive? Yes, you can, but it's of no use on a mobile, because you have very less what do you call the dimension there, and then the grid cannot show everything. Even if you cramp the grid, it's ugly. So what we did was we said, okay, let's adapt to the dimension that we have, that is a mobile dimensions, and then we will give completely different experience. But you as a developer don't have to do anything. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a example of a scheduler, and let me just comment out some code, and let me bring back the browser. Oh, sorry, I closed my browser. Just give me a second. Somebody is asking, is it compatible with Windows Phone too? Yes, the Kendo mobile controls are all compatible with Windows Phone. So, so this is the scheduler. As you can see, the scheduler has a day, week, month, agenda view, and then I can go to today view, and I can pretty much go to day view and then say like, hey, show me only business hours. These are the functionalities that you have, but this is on a what do you call, on a web browser. So now if I go and then look at this particular, let me get back to device as iPhone. So now if I go to iPhone and then try to take a look at the same scheduler, it's not going to be, even although I make it responsive, it's not going to look good, right? Because it's going to be very cramped up. So what we did was, I'll show you first what happens when I run this in an iPhone. There you go. Now this is responsive. As I said, all Kendo UI controls are responsive, but can you take a look at what is happening? As soon as we make scheduler responsive, it's not useful at all on a mobile browser, right? So let's try to fix that. So what I'm going to do is, for fixing this, it's only one line. All you need to say is, hey, mobile, should I support mobile? All we need to say is, yes, true. I want you to support mobile. That's all it takes to make our scheduler adaptive to different dimensions. Okay, so now let me save this and come back to the browser. You will not see any difference here on a mobile on a desktop browser, because in a desktop browser it works exclusively as a desktop browser based mode. But here is the difference. Now when I come back here and then refresh this guy, keep watching what happens. Let's give it a couple of seconds for the mobile simulator. It's a little flaky today, so it's there. You go. Now if you see now any movement now, yes, now on your screens you should see that the scheduler has completely adapted to whatever screen dimension it's being viewed now. So this is iPhone, so the scheduler has completely fit up whatever is available. So I can do all these things, like I can do this, I can double click on this. Notice that it's going to go slide and then show me everything in a slide. You see this, I say this, it shows me everything adapted to this mobile situation. I can click on the the date picker, and then I can pretty much go do this. I can say delete. When I say delete, what it's doing is it's now bringing an action sheet. Okay, the demo guards are not with me. The mobile emulator is kind of overrunning itself, and then it's not responding to me. So that's what it is. So let me show our online demo for this. We have an online demo where we have a demo. So there you go. So this is what the adaptive scheduler rendering is all about. Of course, I hadn't done the CSS correct. That is, the CSS surrounding the control was not done correct, so it didn't fill up the page. But if you do your CSS correctly, so this is how the scheduler will look like. You see all the buttons neatly placed up. So today is shown here neatly. So I can just browse through the day, and then I can actually go ahead and then click on a particular thing. It comes, as you can see here. I can do this. I can do this. But if you are looking on an actual phone, you will see the native, the native controls kicking up. So you can see this, whenever I say something, it just lights and then tries to give me a lot of things. Can you see this? When I say delete, it is giving me an action sheet as per the, whatever device we are looking at. So I can actually go and then view the same thing on a Windows phone. So there you go. So on a Windows phone, it's pretty similar. There's nothing difference here. So it will say this, I can see the week, I can see the month, I can see the agenda. So this is the scheduler which is adapting itself to support the mobile dimensions. So all it takes is just this one line. You just put mobile : true, it's going to do all the magic for you. Similarly, we have another control called grid, which is a very popular control, and then many people have been asking us, like, we want grid to be available on mobile side too. So what we have done now is the whole grid adapts now to the mobile dimension. So what you're seeing is a grid. So I can just basically scroll and then view our you can cut down the number of columns. This is what I was talking about. It's basically the experience that you should give on a mobile browser is completely different, rather than I don't like grid on the first of all on a mobile app, because it doesn't make sense there. But we had so many requests, so we had to do this. So if you can see here, we have the paging done, everything. When I say add new record, you see how seamlessly it slides in and then slides out. So I can do a cancel, it will come back again. I want to do a filter. So you see this column settings. I can actually say I want to see only product name, and then I want to see only the product name and then the unit price. I don't want to see the units in stock and discontinued. I want to sort by ascending, product name ascending, or descending. So if you can see here, it will now show you product name ascending or descending. So similarly, I can go back and then say, hey, I want to see the unit price sort, ascending. I can actually do a filter also. I can say like, hey, I want to filter the operator is equal to or not equal to or is greater than the value is this and or blah blah blah, all those things. I can do a filter, clear it. So this is pretty much basically currently we have released scheduler and grid as adaptive rendering widgets. So that's something that we talked about here. So adaptive widget rendering. So as you can see here, we have two things. One is a grid and then a widget. I'm already almost at the end of the hour, so let me quickly do that. So we saw the adaptive widgets demo. So UI extension, so that's something that interesting. Currently Bootstrap, Twitter Bootstrap is widely used for kind of doing this responsive design-based web pages. So what we did was we released Kendo UI Bootstrap theme. It works very well with the Twitter Bootstrap, and also we have a sample. Yeah, if you can go to kendoui.com and then if you go to web demos, so here in the sample applications, we have created something known as a Bootstrap sample app. So if you click on that, just give me a second. My internet is a little bit slow today. So this is what we have. Basically, our Kendo UI Bootstrap, meaning our controls rely on a style sheet, and that style sheet we have now given as a Bootstrap theme. And also, you can use Bootstrap in order to control the layout, the flexible layout. And then if you see here, this is actually Kendo menu. But since we are using the theme Bootstrap, Kendo Bootstrap, it looks completely different. If I change my theme to blue opal, you will see that the tab strip, the controls, everything. So this is how Kendo menu control will look like. This is how Kendo's tab strip will look like. This is how Kendo's the calendar will look like. The drop down will look like, all those things. But we have released Kendo Bootstrap. So you put in Twitter Bootstrap and then you put in Kendo UI and then you say, hey Kendo UI, I want you to be using Kendo UI Twitter Bootstrap theme. So this is how you get it. It gels very well with the Bootstrap that you might have already put. Not only this, now if I go ahead and resize, everybody plays very nicely because of all the resizing functionality that we have, and then Twitter Bootstrap will automatically resize your things. For example, now if you assume this is like a mobile browser, do you see our menu? What has happened? Menu is now, instead of horizontal, it's vertical. Plus, look at this, the chart. Let me resize, and then you will see that the chart automatically resizes itself. So that's the resize functionality that I was showing. I have a tab strip here, so I have placed like this. There you go. See this? It plays so nicely now with the Twitter Bootstrap. Not only that, this is the same profile setup example that I was showing, where you have the birthday, the gender, language, all those things. Here is something pretty interesting. This is a text area, right? So this is like an editor. So even our editor is very responsive. So this is something that we are excited about. These are the three things that makes Kendo UI a very responsive UI framework. I'm pretty sure majority of the sites that get built up in the industry today are asking for responsive UI. So I would say, please give it a try. For Kendo UI, use Kendo UI Bootstrap theme and then Twitter Bootstrap, and then see how it gels together. This example is there, the Kendo demos.kendoui.com/bootstrap, and it's going to let you know how to do things. That's pretty much what I had to kind of present today. So I have 6 more minutes, so let me start taking up questions. Setu Murugan, you're asking for, will the API documentation will also be available in TelericHelper.net? No, TelericHelper.net is a very generic blog. We don't have the API documentation, but rather the place to go for documentation is docs.kendoui.com. So that's where the complete documentation of Kendo UI is available. The Kendo UI web. So here you go. So Kendo UI docs. click on API reference, you will be able to go through the mobile, database, web, and then framework. Imran Khan, you're asking for can you use Kendo UI for iOS? Yes, you can use Kendo UI for iOS. I mean, if I understand your question correctly, it's basically it's a hybrid mobile app that you should be developing. If you develop a hybrid mobile app which uses HTML5, JavaScript, and CSS, we have Kendo UI mobile controls, and these mobile controls do adaptive rendering, meaning you write code only once, but you package it for iOS or Android or Windows Phone or BlackBerry. They take the native UI look and feel. So yes, you can do iOS apps using Kendo Mobile Control, but it's hybrid in nature. Abhijit, you're asking, can we create custom controls using Kendo UI? Absolutely, you can. I mean, when you say custom controls, if you want to use our Kendo UI, mix up 2 Kendo UI controls and then do it, yes, it follows jQuery's plugin pattern. You can create a Kendo UI plugin and then include that plugin in any page that you want, and then just instantiate like .kendo your plugin name. Pratap Jaina, you're asking for, is media query is required even though all controls are inside Kendo UI framework or responsive in nature? It depends. As I showed you, since they are all responsive, they'll take the 100% width. For example, the one of the first examples that I showed was when you go to this form element. If I remove the media query, what happens is, so now if you see here the birthday, the time picker, it's only 300 px. But if I remove my media query, it will take the complete, the container, whatever is there, it's going to fill up the container. It's kind of look ugly, right? For example, the container that is available is 100%. So it's going to go ahead and then, did I save it? Okay, I have done width 300 pixels, so let me do that. So now, if I didn't put media queries or anything, so it's going to be 100% by default. So you will see that the date picker is so big, all those things. So in order to, there are certain situations where you may want to come in and then say, you know what, I want the 100% only when the screen size is less than, let's say, 600 px or whatever the mobile dimension. Nicholas Rajkumar, you're saying, do we have any report control in Kendo UI? We don't have any report control in Kendo UI, but we have a report viewer, which is an HTML5 report viewer, which uses Kendo UI under the hood. But you need to look at Telerik's reporting suite itself. So you can create a report using Telerik's reports suite. And the report suite will give you a report viewer which uses HTML5 based Kendo UI controls to actually show the report on an HTML5 browser. George Peter, you're asking for, do we have any file upload? I believe we have a file upload in our Kendo UI. I don't know if you have looked at our demos. Let me just get a demo page. Yeah, we have an upload control in Kendo UI, so you can look at that. Basically, the file upload control is, again, it goes through a lot of stuff. So I would request you to go take a look at that. Download, no, I don't have any download. Video players, we don't have a video player in Kendo UI, but we have a video player in ASP.NET Ajax. Many people are asking for file upload. Yes, we do have a file upload. So basically, I'm showing you on the screen that this is a demo for file upload. So I can do a select files. So I can click on that. I can pretty much pick up this file, and then I say submit. So so now it's still not submitted. So I can basically submit it later. For example, now let me say, okay, let me take this and then do a submit. So now you will see that it's to the server. So it went and then it's come back. Yeah, we support both, multiple and then single. So it's basically you control whether you want to allow multiple or single. For example, when I go back and then I say select files. If Kendo UI is open source or we need to purchase the license. Yes, this is a paid product. So this is an enterprise license. Okay, we need you to help us a little bit. So I'm going to be running a poll now. Please take this poll. So we would like to know, what is your status of your adoption? Like, are you already building responsive webs or no immediate use, or do you require for mobile development or have an upcoming project where you want to do that? Okay, so I see only 25% of you have voted. So I request everybody to please kind of take the poll. It kind of helps us to better our product, understand where the industry is going, understand how the projects are happening. So I request everybody to please, take the poll. I still see only 50% taking the poll. Some of you are asking, can we use a master page in Kendo UI? Please understand that Kendo UI is all about control. So master page or whatever, it's up to you. If you're doing an ASP.NET Web Forms, you can create a master page and then you can put Kendo UI control there. If you're creating an ASP.NET MVC project, you can actually go and then create a layout page. In the layout page, if you want a Kendo to be integrated, you can do that. So it's a control, as I'm showing you, button, autocomplete. These are all control. These are all not pages. So Kendo UI is a HTML5 based JavaScript UI framework. Anil, if you can write back to me, I'm not sure what your problem is. I would request, if you're a licensed user, please raise a support ticket. I'm pretty sure our support will help you out, send you out all the information required, because I'm not understanding the question. So please get in touch with me, maybe through an email. Better would be to raise a support ticket, send me the support ticket ID, I can follow it up. I still see only 67%. Please, those of you who have not taken the poll, please go ahead, answer the poll. It helps us to, better our product, give you more wow factors, give you more fantastic features within this one. Hari Prasad, you're using, can we use Kendo UI with ASP.NET MVC? Absolutely, it fits in very well with ASP.NET MVC. We also have ASP.NET MVC wrappers, meaning you do not have to write any JavaScript. You will program with Razor syntax or C# syntax, and then our wrappers will write the JavaScript for you. I still see 71%. Folks, please, I request everybody to go ahead and then take the poll. Yes, you can go to kendoui.com for the forums. The forums are all there. Sridhar, you're saying you have a Icenium developer license. Yes, Icenium comes with the latest and greatest Kendo UI. So yes, you can do that. Okay, I'm going to be closing this poll now. 33 are saying having upcoming project. 28% are saying already building it. That's good. So thank you. And also, this may be a wrong time to ask it, but we would like to know what is your experience level. So I'm going to ask you to please let us know, where do you stand in terms of, your experience level, so that we can gauge what kind of, content we should be presenting from next time. Was this a kind of level 100, or are you expecting level 300, level 400? Rajan Thakur is asking, can we implement it in CMS WordPress? Absolutely. As long as you have a browser running your web page, you can use Kendo UI in any web browser scenario. We support all the major browsers. Mind you, there's nothing server side to this control. These are all client side. So you will need to feed the data to the controls through a JSON endpoint, and then that's all it requires. Sunil, it depends on what license you have. Basically, we have a bundle. It's known as DevCraft Complete, DevCraft UI, DevCraft Ultimate. So Rat Control Ajax is actually only one suite, which is an ASP.NET Ajax suite. If you have a license for a bundle, yes, you will see that Kendo UI is part of that, like a complete. If you have a complete, it will. But you can write to us. We can let you know what kind of license you have, and then what you can use. Vivek Kulkarni, I never said this is a .NET control. This is a HTML5 based JavaScript UI framework, but we have something known as MVC wrappers, which writes the JavaScript necessary for you. So Kendo UI is completely JavaScript based. So you write JavaScript code to actually instantiate a control on the client side. Prapati Suresh, you're asking for, does it accept data in XML format? Yes, we do. We do let you give data in an XML format, but JSON is better. Can we customize scheduler? Yes, you can. There are customization points available. Senthil Nathan, you're asking for what is the security in Kendo UI controls. I'm not sure what's the context you're asking for. If you can send us an email, we will be able to happy to kind of take it forward and then try to give you the more information. Dheeraj, you're asking, can we use Ajax with Kendo UI? We already have something called as a data source. It does all data calls to your server side endpoints through an Ajax manner. You do not have to do anything. Sridhar, you're asking for, do we have any training material related to responsive framework? Well, responsive framework, if you're asking generic responsive web design, we don't get into that. Basically what we can give you is how our controls are all responsive, how you should make a grid adaptive to mobile, all those things. But I would say you should pretty much take a look at Wikipedia or somewhere, like what is responsive web design all about. Prapti Suresh, you're asking, does Kendo have anything to do with local storage? Well, local storage is there on the browser. All you need to do is write a single line of JavaScript code, but our controls are all, controls. They are UI controls, so they don't pretty much do anything with the storage or anything, but you can always, basically, we have a data source, so you can store data in in the local storage by writing a line of code in JavaScript and then read it and then give it to our data source. So that's all we can do. Sundar Maripan, that's what I said. You're asking, can we give data source for Kendo UI controls in code behind? Kendo UI controls are not server-side controls. These are HTML5 based JavaScript UI framework or UI controls. So that means they live and breathe in client side, meaning in the browser. So there's nothing you can do as a code behind eventing or anything. So there's nothing. Bal Murugan, you're asking for possible to edit and save the graph component data. I'm not sure I understand what you mean by that. Well, if you have a data being edited, you can read it and then immediately bind it to the grid, and then yes, it will show you the newly edited data. So that you can do. Nitya Devi, you're asking for upload HTML to attribute is not working. I want to filter the open dialog box to allow any PDF. I request you to either raise a support ticket if you have a license or write back to us. The browser window, the file dialog that comes up, there's nothing that we can do because it's the OS dialog, and the Kendo controls are lying inside a browser which is a sandbox. And when we have an upload control and you click on a select file button, we just are telling the OS that, hey, I need you to open the file open dialog. So it comes up. So I don't have any control, or any for that matter, anybody doesn't have a control on that file open dialog. You cannot do anything there. I don't know if certain HTML5 libraries will help you in that. You would have to take a look at that. But if you can write back to us, we can try to see what exactly that needs to be done. Yeah, if you have a license, I request you to go ahead, raise a support ticket. If you go to telerichelper.net, we have a blog post which kind of tells you how to raise a support ticket. Dheeraj, Vivek, glad you guys liked the webinar. I hope it was a 1 hour well spent. You're taking a time off your busy schedule, so we don't want to waste the time. So thank you very much for attending, and then we hope to see you more. Manigandan, you're asking for, can I use Kendo UI with JSP? Absolutely. We have JSP wrappers, meaning you do not have to write JavaScript, rather you can write JSP taglets, and it's going to do the same thing that you see on the screen. Basically, if you want to have a, okay, let me show you this. If I go to grid, I'm now showing you a web page where there's a grid, and then I can go to the JSP page. And then if you see here, this is how you can raise a Kendo grid. This is the taglet, Kendo : grid, give the name, pageable, columns, data source, all those things. And then here's the controller.java where you will pretty much return the data that is required. Prapti Suresh, we are not into Flash. We are betting heavily on SVG, so all our chart are rendered as SVGs. That's why be it any screen which supports HTML5, you can pretty much show the same graph anywhere. Shiraj, thank you. I think you liked the webinar. Thank you. Ganesh, you're asking how can I use Kendo UI in RAD Ajax control? Specifically, which RAD Ajax control are you talking about? If you want to just embed a Kendo UI control inside a grid, you can. All you need to do is make sure you put in the right JavaScript there, and then it's going to just come up. Amol, you're asking, is there any bootstrap for responsive web applications? I'm not sure what you mean. The Twitter bootstrap theme that is there, it's used to build responsive web pages. I don't understand the question, Dheeraj. Can compatible with different video files? I'm not getting the context of what you're asking. Madhav, you're asking what is Bootstrap? Well, I would say just head over and then do a Bing for Twitter Bootstrap, and then you will get the loads of tutorials on that. And this is not in the context of this webinar. Video controls. Dheeraj, the Kendo UI does not have anything to do with the video control. We have RAD ASP.NET Ajax, which has a video player. So there it will pretty much support anything that you need. When you say grid view, are you guys talking about, Praveen, are you talking about RAD ASP.NET Ajax grid, or are you talking about Kendo UI grid? Because this webinar is all about Kendo UI grid. So let's talk about Kendo UI. I'm going to be closing down in another 3 minutes. It's 4:12. Thank you very much for everybody who has stick on and then who are asking a lot of questions. I'm really liking the kind of question that you're asking. But unfortunately, in the interest of the time, I would have to, kind of cut the webinar at 4:15 p.m. By my watch. But I will take all these questions, answer it when I do a recap of the blog, this particular webinar. I've read a recap blog post at tellerichelper.net, on the tellerichelper.net. Next week, if you see, you will have a recap of this particular webinar. So I will be taking down all these questions and then answering them. So thank you very much for everyone who attended today's webinar. It's indeed great to see everybody sticking around, although it's 15 minutes past the scheduled time. So I wish you all a very happy weekend, and we look forward to seeing you back again. As I said, two people from this webinar will be picked up for the .NET Ninja T-shirt. If you didn't win it, don't worry. There's always a next time. When you leave, when you exit, there will be a short survey. We request you to please take that survey. It will help us to serve you better, give you more content, and next week we have one more webinar on 23rd, so don't forget to attend that again. I'll have my evangelist colleague Dhananjay Kumar, who will be taking a session. So go ahead, if you have any questions, please log it. I will try to save it and then close at 4:15 p.m. Those of you who are saying it was good, thank you very much. We hope to make sure that you get a good information out of all this webinar. So as I said, so here is a blog post that we have which says the new year e-learning goodies are rolling. So basically this will highlight all the webinars that happen quarterly, meaning January, February, March. We already released the schedule, as you can see here. So 16th, we are kicking off. We kicked off this year's webinar with this session, which is Achieve Responsive Web Application with Ease using Kendo UI. Next week, we have Node.js with Visual Studio, completely different topic. Node.js is one of the famous server-side JavaScripting phenomena now. So Dhananjay Kumar is going to be talking about Node.js, that too within Visual Studios. I would say you should not miss that particular webinar. It's one of the good webinars that you can get anywhere. Node.js and then Visual Studio, absolutely Telleric combination. We look forward to you being there. So thank you very much. Have a good weekend and have a great day today. So thank you.